find you a seat. Grab yourself a cup of joe and put up your feet. Let's talk about the latest news and all about true crime. We can make a difference if we put in the time. Good evening, come and find you a seat. Grab yourself a cup of joe and put up your feet. Let's talk about the latest news and all about true crime. We can make a difference if we put in the time. If we put in the time. Yeah. Good evening, come and find you a seat. Grab yourself a cup of joe and put up your feet. Let's talk about the latest news and all about true crime. We can make a difference if we put in the time. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to a special Saturday night episode of the Morning Joe Schmo Show. It's not morning anymore. It's 3 o'clock in Arizona. It's 6 o'clock on the East Coast. So it's not morning anymore. It's not morning anymore. But I have a really special guest today, and I'm really excited to bring her on so y'all can meet her. We met at this trial, at the second trial for Lori Vallow Daybell, Arizona versus the Lori Vallow Daybell. And I think we're going to learn some things. I know she's been interviewed before and answered a lot of questions, but I think maybe we can learn some new things. So without further ado, please welcome to my channel, juror number 8 from the first trial of Arizona, the state of Arizona versus Lori Daybell, Tass.
Hi.
Tass Reed Tucker, welcome to my channel.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for taking the time to spend some time with us this afternoon.
Yeah.
So we met when you came back for the second trial.
Yep.
Yeah, and that I have so many questions about that, but I'm like a linear type of person. Like I like to start from the very beginning and go through it all.
Mm-hmm.
So do you remember when my headphones just powered off, so I'm gonna have to replace my old headphones off, new headphones on. So let's go back to when you first got an email from the Maricopa County Superior Court asking you to come be a juror in the first trial.
So actually it got mailed to my aunt's house. That's where I was living before I moved to this specific location. And so I still get some of my mail there. And she called me and I was like, why is my aunt calling me? She never calls me. So like it must have been important. And so I answer it and she's like, just want to let you know that you got summoned to court. And she was just letting me know because you can get in a lot of trouble if you don't respond, or don't show up. Um, so she sent me a screenshot and took the questionnaire it had, and um, it said it asked a couple questions, and then it gave us a little preview of who it was and um, what she was being charged for. And yeah.
So you responded to that and you showed up in court.
hmm Yeah. I told my mom about it. She was like, "Don't worry about it. You're not going to get chosen. Like, just show up." Yeah, yeah. She was like, "Just show up and so you don't get in trouble, but don't worry, you won't get chosen." And I call her back like 3 days later. I'm like, "Mom, I got chosen." Like, and
Oh
apparently I
my
was like,
gosh.
and apparently it's high profile. They told us it's high profile. And she's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "I don't know." And so, yeah, got chosen, showed up, and made it through all the rounds to pick people, and then the case began.
Right. So when you're going through the voir dire, the group voir dire, where they ask you to hold up your number if you have a certain response to one of their questions, but before they even start the group voir dire, you're brought in, and the first like 18 are put into the jury box, and then the rest of everybody is out in the gallery.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So the first 18, and I didn't know this, like your jury selection was my first jury selection I've ever been to ever.
hmm
Um, so it was a learning experience for both of us. But I didn't know it at the time, and probably you didn't know it at the time. If you're in that jury box in that first 18, you have a high chance of being selected to be on the jury.
Yeah,
So,
and I found that out this trial actually because it seems to be if you're already in the box, you're more than likely gonna be staying, and there he just says everyone in the back seats just can go.
right. So, how did they pick who the first 18 were? Like, how did they give you your numbers when you got there?
So a bunch of I think there was like 90 some of us actually that showed up to begin with, if I'm mistaken. And then so I was originally number 24, and then when we all got seated and they eliminated people, they gave us our
Renumbered you.
numbers. Yeah,
Right.
and then I became juror number 8 because that's what seat I was in the jury box.
Oh gosh. So how did you get 24 in the first place? Just by order of what you showed up, or where you were sitting in the jury room?
They
Like,
just I'm pretty sure they just anonymously named off whenever you signed in that day.
oh my
So
gosh.
like whenever you show up, they have you like sign in on an iPad. I'm pretty sure they just go like whoever signed in first,
Oh,
you know?
so okay. So word to the wise, wait till the very end before you sign in.
Show up at the last minute.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So you get there and they have, so this is not televised. The jury voir dire is not televised, the group voir dire, but the public does get to see it. And I was there for that for your trial, and I was there for that for the second trial. But they ask you like bio things. Do you remember the list of questions they ask you, like what your job is and how long you've been there, and if you're married and if you have children? Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yeah. That was how they first started selecting us.
Right. And how they first started like knocking people out who might have something in that might
Yeah.
preclude them from the jury.
Yeah.
um and then and then oh gosh, I honestly can't remember. It's a blur for me, and I've been to two of them now. So I was there for yours and there for hers. um do you remember Lori asking you guys questions once you were in the box?
Yes. It wasn't really like specific questions. It was more of like it went off of like what they do for a job and if they've ever been to court or a grand jury.
Right. And then in the second one, so I was there for the second one, and she asked this of the second jury, but she didn't ask this of your jury. She
Hmm.
asked how many people were owners of handguns.
Hmm.
And like 50% of the people said, yeah, that was me. And then she asked how many people had ever been to a shooting range. And it was like 95% of the people in the second jury said, yeah, I've been to a shooting range at some point in time.
So she did ask if we carry, but she did not ask about the shooting range.
Yeah. It was her questions were odd. At least that's my interpretation, just as somebody on the outside looking in. But I learned from both jury selections. Um, okay, so you don't know the defendant. What was your impression of her the first time that you saw her?
Um, she seemed to be, you know, this was before learning everything and going into it blindly. So she seemed pretty put together. I was a little questionable about how she got to wear street clothes, instead of like in her whatever they wear. But I mean, I she seemed to, I mean, be put together for the most part until she started talking.
Okay, well then we got to go down that road. When she started talking, what was your impression of her talking?
Um, so it started off a little rough. She kept messing up and saying things that she shouldn't be saying, and the judge kept correcting her. But throughout it, I think she did pretty good. Um, with the questioning and um, yeah, just all around the questioning. Um, I think she did pretty good at for presenting herself.
Yeah, but so you were impressed by the fact that Trina K was objecting to what she was saying, and the judge was like, "Yeah, objection sustained. You can't go down that road," type of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay, I get that. And so we get to the first trial, and she has her opening statement, and then the state starts putting on witnesses. And do you think that she presented a decent defense? I mean, or were you like, yeah, this is somebody who's totally representing themselves, and I just she doesn't know what she's doing, type of thing?
Um, I think it was a little bit of both because she did have some good areas of like some good questions to the people, but then again she slipped up quite a bit. So I guess it was both ways.
Yeah, and you know what, that plays into her opening argument and Trina K's opening arguments, because Trina K said, and actually voir dire, it goes all the way back to voir dire, because Trina K said, this is a defendant that is representing herself. Are you going to hold the state to a higher standard or her to a lesser standard just because she's representing herself? Do you
Yeah.
remember that?
Yeah.
So was that hard to do? Was that hard to say, okay, she is an attorney representing herself. She's not an attorney, but she's like an attorney representing herself,
Hmm.
and I can't hold her to a lower standard?
Um, I don't think for me, I don't know about the other people, but for me, it wasn't hard.
Okay. We have questions in chat about your name, and you
I know.
explained
I
you
saw it. I
explained it.
I saw.
Yeah. You explained it the other day in
I
a way
did.
that I can't forget it. So I'm going to explain it. It's Tosh, Tass,
Yep.
but Tass is from Natasha with a
Correct.
J A after it. So it's pronounced Tosh, and it's spelled Tass. So for all you that want to know, there we go. Trace on the case. She's my buddy. She was with me almost every single day. Um, and she's the one that gave you my number. So thank you, Trace. I appreciate
Oh,
that.
she's so sweet. I love her. She is so sweet. I'm pretty sure she still has my granola bar, actually. She can keep it as a memory.
Right. Oh, she is sweet. She's like my sister. Like I met her in December at Lori's pretrial hearings. So on December 5th and 6th of last year, December 5th, Lori was found competent to assist in her defense. And then December 6th, Judge Boreski gave her the right to represent herself pro per, which he
Okay.
probably very much deeply regrets.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh. So we get all the way to the end of trial, and I'm gonna play something right here that you probably remember very well. Oh shoot. No, it's gonna take me a second. All right, I got it's gonna take me a second to pull it up.
Okay.
But I have video, and I remember it because it was like my first court reporter type of video, and I couldn't be that person that went and chased you guys down when you and what was the other gal's name? So it was there were two gals and 10 guys
Mm-hmm.
in the jury, and you and her and Carl came out
Yeah.
the front doors and got absolutely mobbed
Yeah.
by the media. And um and I was sitting there where the media were in the media staging area, and I saw people just running down the sidewalk, and they're all like, "It's a juror, it's a juror, it's a juror." And I'm like, I'm not going to go be a part of that. And I couldn't be a part of that yet 2 days ago either, because they took the jury out a side door and no
Yeah.
mobbed
Yeah.
it this time around. But tell me what they told you before they released you.
So they gave us, they told us that we could either go out on our own, um, just if we don't care, we can just go out on our own, all together as a group, or they could escort us out. And we all just kind of were like, we're fine, we'll just go out on our own.
Right. How crazy can it be, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So we're going to watch this mob for just a couple minutes, and
Okay.
then I want to watch your interview. And I was impressed by your interview from the very start, just because you seemed to be listening to the questions and answering the questions intelligently, like thinking about them before you opened your mouth and just like said whatever.
Yeah, I was always taught to think before I speak. So
That's yeah, I think we can all learn from that lesson.
yeah.
I've made my share of mistakes not doing that.
Yeah.
And I feel like we uncovered some lies. So
Knowing now that she was convicted of killing her 2 children in Idaho.
I haven't had a chance to Google everything. I'm sure as soon as we get on the shuttle. So might have more to say later.
Was that difficult going through this and
Yes,
not being
it
able to be
was.
disconnected?
Yeah.
What
It
do you
just
do?
felt like there was a lot of information that didn't make sense and that was missing.
Do you think she did herself any favors by
No.
defending herself?
No,
You were not impressed with her
No.
lawyering skills?
no.
What did you think of her behavior during cross-examination? The way that
That's a good question. I don't think they asked that of you.
I
Were
actually have
you
never
impressed?
seen that clip. I've never watched that.
Really? You're
Mm-mm.
seeing this for the first time.
Yeah.
So this was down at the end of the sidewalk, and the waiting area is the crosswalk is off to the left. So this was her and Carl together.
Yeah.
And then you get picked up here in about 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, I was sitting off to the left because initially I wasn't going to talk to anyone, and then I saw someone point to me, and I was like, "Oh, here we go." And one person ended up coming over. I can't remember. It might have been Nate to start off with. I can't remember for sure though, but and then I was like, one person, fine. And so I started talking to him, and the second I started speaking, the rest came over.
Right.
And then yeah.
It was on. It was on.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. You haven't seen this before. This is I think she does a really good job of thinking too before she speaks. And I think Carl does for the most part. It was when he went down to where you're at right now, like down to the crosswalk where he
Mhm.
said what he said that got him called back into Trina K's office to be like, what did you say and what did you mean type of thing.
Yep. Yep.
Way that at one moments she was argumentative with some of the witnesses.
I mean, many days she just was like smiling and laughing and didn't seem to take anything very seriously.
Were you hoping to hear how much of that did that play into a factor in the decision?
It did.
Were you hoping to hear her testify? Were you hoping
Yes,
to hear
I
her
was.
testify?
I was.
And what about you?
I didn't understand why she didn't call him.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. I don't know.
Or why she didn't have, like, I know she made a statement about the only family that was interviewed was her estranged brother, and why wasn't her parents or her sister, but yet she didn't call them. So
I mean, in saying that, she is not obligated to prove her innocence.
exactly, yeah.
And you gave her that benefit of the doubt. She would recognize she didn't have to put on.
She knew,
Right,
yeah,
right.
She knew.
Was the fact that she didn't put up a defense or take the stand in her own defense part of your deliberation at all?
No.
Did it
It was
affect?
all evidence. It was all evidence that was
Yeah.
produced and presented to us.
Sorry, just to ask, what would you say the biggest piece of evidence for you guys as a jury was when you came to the decision?
Well, for me, like her, it was text.
The text
with
history.
What
text
What specifically about the text?
Oh, there were so many.
Yeah, there was.
I mean,
there
we
was
had
two of them for me
pages.
that really stood out.
Can you tell us which ones?
The Nephi.
Yeah, that was one of them. Soon you will be Nephi and so will I. So that was one of them. But I don't know if I should say anything more.
We heard so much about dark spirits and religion and how this all plays into it. I mean, as a jury, what's going through your head when you start hearing that in court?
For me, that didn't really play a big role because you have to have evidence of conspiracy, and that is not evidence of conspiracy.
Was it
Somebody's
Was it
possessed.
unusual for you guys to? I mean, you're talking about her brother Alex, the guy who actually did that was the trigger man. So many players.
So he just said right there, that's not evidence of conspiracy to me. That's a pretty big statement in my mind. Is that something that you guys discussed in the jury room that you deliberated on what was and wasn't evidence of conspiracy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a big one to me too. I'm a pretty objective courtroom observer. Like I will also take that, even if it's somebody like Lori Vallow Daybell, who is clearly guilty of some horrific things, I will still say you need to, prove beyond a reasonable doubt. So that's pretty cool. You guys had that discussion in your jury deliberations.
Yeah. We were all pretty open to listening to everyone who had questions and needed to know more. So it worked out pretty good.
Yeah, good deal.
Years we were referenced in this trial, and you never saw them and never heard
Correct.
from them. It had to be confusing when
It
you
was
guys got
very
back in the
confusing.
jury room. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very confusing.
What did
It just felt like there was so much of the story that was missing.
I can't see the clip.
Did she have any
I don't
valid
know if you
arguments?
want to show it or
Anything that
not.
Maybe she's not.
Say that again.
There we go. I couldn't see the clip when you were playing it just now.
Oh, okay.
Got it though.
We're good now. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Guilty.
Do you want to answer? I can't think of any.
Honestly, up until yesterday, I would have said not guilty. But when the prosecutor, I don't know, what do they call that? When they give their
Closing argument.
Yeah, it's the closing
Connected
argument.
the
That's
dots.
really, there's a few things she said in there, and then when I looked them up today, I was like, oh yeah, that's bad.
You were still on the fence yesterday.
I was yesterday. Yes.
Give us a sense of what it was like to be in that jury room. Was there any a point that someone was disagreeing, saying that maybe she is not guilty?
Yes.
Were you guys
There's
all-
a couple.
And what was that like? Walk us through it.
It's just a matter of adults working things out and going through all the evidence and figuring out what we thought, what we were going to come to an agreement with. So.
To learn now that everyone that was in that house that day, minus Daybell, is all not with us anymore, is dead or has been killed. I mean, what is that like to hear as jurors walking out?
Sad. Like I kept wanting to hear from Tylee.
I was going to ask, is anybody wondering why Tylee wasn't testifying?
Yes.
You were.
Did you ever ask the judge why aren't they here?
No. And the one witness that really got to me was hearing Kay. I was holding back my emotions.
Okay, what happened?
I looked at Kay, I saw her smile, and I was just like, I just want to hug her.
So this is then down by the crosswalk, a little bit down from where that earlier interview was.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where you end up getting caught up, right?
Yeah.
down by the crosswalk.
Yep.
You should have. Yeah. Well, I can on the way out. Yeah. Yeah. They wouldn't let you? No, had strict instructions.
Well, let's go find her, girls.
Well,
This is text, absolutely the text. There were 2 texts that. That and there was some footage of. At one point, she said she ran out of the house, and she didn't know what it's like to run out of the house with bare feet. And it was 112 degrees. When it's in July, but then when she went to the store to buy flip-flops.
So let's talk a little bit about Carl, juror number 15, without disparaging him in any way. So, so he had, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Tosh? Okay. So he had some problems with the judge before the verdict was ever read, and he ever went outside to talk with the media. And then he had the issue that we all know he had. But he was called before the judge 3 times. So the first time he set his phone down on that wooden wall in front of you, and it went off in the middle of, somebody's testimony. And we all thought we were having a close encounter of the third kind. Did you know that was his phone that was going off?
No, so actually until I was on this recent case or trial, we can't hear anything going on with we can't hear each other, so what you guys were hearing, like the phone ringing and even when someone grabbed a tissue or a piece of paper, it picked up everything, I noticed, but to us, we couldn't hear any of that, so we didn't even know what was happening when everyone was like, what is going on?
Okay. Did you know that he got held back to talk to the judge?
Yeah.
Were you aware of that? Okay.
Yeah.
And then he was texting with his daughter apparently during one of the witnesses' testimony, and he got held back again.
Yeah.
And then he was talking to juror number, so he was juror number 15. He was talking to juror number 16 about Social Security something during the Social Security guy's testimony.
Yeah.
So you guys were aware that he got held back for that, but you didn't know exactly why.
Yeah, because we couldn't hear what you guys were hearing. The microphones, I think, are only around the stands because, we couldn't hear anything. And I realized that once I was on this trial in the stands, I was like, wow, you can hear everything.
Yeah. They had, when you're in the gallery, you can hear what the microphones pick up, but also you can't hear what the microphones don't pick up. So people who watch on TV actually have a better vantage point than anybody else, which is crazy to me. If you have cameras, if you have a court camera in there, they get to pick up everything, and we can hear what we can hear. And you guys in the jury box can hear even less than that. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So he had his issues with the judge, and the judge. So here's a question that has been plaguing me ever since that first encounters of the third kind, the experience that we all had where his phone went off when it was next to a microphone. They didn't tell you to turn your phone off when you went into the jury box?
They did. They said it doesn't have to be off, it has to be on silent.
Okay.
So they prefer it to be off, but if it's on silent, it's fine. I believe his was on vibrate, and that's what you guys were. I was gonna say, and that's what you guys were hearing.
I believe it probably was on vibrate.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's crazy. All right. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit past all of his comments, and we will get up to a point where you probably remember very well.
Hard to forget.
Sure. Okay, Carl, thank you so much.
And your decision today?
One of the biggest factors was probably when we were sitting there, whenever they would ask a question about the Mormon stuff and all that, she would just kind of look at us and smile and smirk. So it kind of gave it away for a lot of it, just kind of didn't really care.
What were those conversations like in the jury room? I mean, going back and forth when everyone was deliberating. Can you kind of put us inside that room with you?
Let's see. It was kind of, so a lot of us already knew. A couple of us just needed the extra. We needed to re-look back through the evidence, the text messages, and all that. So it was a little bit of back and forth, but all of us were pretty sure we already knew what we wanted.
Was there one piece of evidence that really convinced you she was guilty?
Probably when she said that he was Ned before they got rid of him. That was probably the part where we were like, okay, now it's real.
What on earth was going through your mind at that point in time?
That this case was way bigger than we thought it was.
Yeah, like that was Ned. Like, I mean, just as a personal background from me to you, I was raised in the Mormon church, and I grew up, knowing some of the, all of the doctrine that I was raised with. And I never in my entire 19 years as an LDS ever learned about zombies and alternate spirits taking over people's bodies and stuff like that. So, I mean, I can't imagine what you as a juror was thinking at that point in time when you heard that stuff.
So, it doesn't, I mean, so I guess what I was thinking was, I don't know a lot about Mormons and LDS and stuff like that, but it doesn't take, I mean, a scientist to realize that it's not normal for that stuff. It just did not make sense at all.
Yeah, you don't have to be a clinical psychologist to recognize when something is wacko.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm sure things happen in different churches, but can guarantee it's not like that.
Right. And that moment as a juror to hear that coming from somebody on the stand, from a witness on the stand, had to have been just like, wait, what did I just hear?
Yep.
Like, yeah, okay, thank you.
Yep.
Because
It's exactly that.
Yeah, I wasn't on the jury. I was, in the gallery, and I had that like, wait, what did we just hear?
Yeah.
All right. So you are so calm and cool and collected in this moment. I don't know if I could have been, because you have so many cameras in your face. You have so many thoughts from what you just went through. That how did you stay so calm and cool and collected?
I guess I don't really know. Um, I honestly couldn't tell you because I'm from such a small town. Like, it's not normal for all that to be happening. Like, nothing ever happens in my hometown, like, ever, unless it's like DUI stuff. And yeah, I mean, you don't get cameras and, news and stuff. Um, but yeah, I couldn't tell you. You can't really see it in the video, but like my face was hot. Like, I was like burning up because I
You
was,
felt right. You felt flushed. You felt like you
yeah,
were, yeah.
yeah.
So where are you from?
I'm from Minnesota.
Right. And it gets really cold in Minnesota.
Yeah, and I'm from International Falls, Minnesota. So it's known as the icebox of the nation.
Oh
Um,
gosh.
it's colder than Alaska in the winter.
Wow.
Yep.
And it doesn't get that cold in Phoenix area.
No, it doesn't. Like, not even close. Moving here, it was -42 back home. So you can't breathe. It hurts your lungs to breathe in coldness like that. And
Right.
so it was over 100-degree difference moving from there to here.
And that was probably a cool day actually in the Phoenix area, because
It was like 80s.
right. Yeah, that's like mild weather for the Phoenix area.
And that's 80s is like what it gets in the summertime in Minnesota.
Right.
So
Wow. Yeah. So it was a little warmer than that Thursday when we were sitting there talking, just a little warmer than that.
mhm.
So you're handling it okay now? Are you handling it okay being in triple digits like most of the summer?
I love it. I mean,
Really?
yeah. I don't ever I think it's different for people that don't have never grown up in the snow. People are always like, "Why would you want to leave the snow?" Or like they go to visit snow, and I'm like, I'm the opposite. I'm like, "Why would you do that?" Because I'm from the snow, you know. So, um, being in the heat, I love it. I'm living my best life.
Awesome. I love it.
It's real.
Did you ever wonder why Tylee wasn't testifying as a witness?
Yes. We didn't really have much to say about it though because we didn't really know anything why she didn't, stuff like that.
And do you understand?
That's like probably one of the biggest questions that we've all had on the outside looking into this case and knowing her history and that she was tried and convicted for those murders in Idaho.
Yeah.
Like when did you start to question who is Tylee and why isn't she here?
I guess when we first when they brought it up, when they first brought it up, because I mean we were into this blindly. We didn't know anything. So we were like, why isn't she here? You know, like not supporting her mom. And but then again some of us were thinking like maybe it's because she's not allowed there, you know. Um we didn't really think too much into it because we didn't know the situation.
Right. So you had questions that couldn't be answered one way or
Yeah.
the other.
Yeah. Either way, we couldn't talk about it. So
now that you know, I mean, how much research have you done into that and into Tylee and JJ's history with Lori?
I think all of it, a ton. I'm pretty sure I've seen all of it.
Yeah. So my experience, I'm just going to talk about my experience for just a second. Sitting in that first trial, I sat behind Colby a few times. You know who Colby is, obviously, right? Now.
Yep.
And they talked a little bit about how Tylee was going through some things in her life. She had a rough life. Tylee had a rough life. And he was there and he shook his head and nodded his head in affirmation when I was sitting behind him when they were talking about that on the stand. And that was a powerful moment for me. So we'll get to that in a second because you got to flip the script and you got to sit on the other side of things.
Yes.
For the second trial.
Yeah.
And that's so cool that you actually came and you actually sat down with us, you know, early in the mornings on the concrete, you know.
Yeah.
You came early to sit with us and
Got to know everyone and everyone was super friendly.
Yeah, and you were too, and that was awesome.
Thank you.
You understand now that every other witness that was there that day is now dead?
Yes.
When did you learn that?
At the end when we first were walking out. Everyone was talking about it and we got told to look up her previous stuff so that we were aware.
And in that jury room, this woman has been convicted of 3 homicides. You guys didn't know that.
We did not.
Hold on, let me back up just a
Correct,
second.
yeah.
I forgot to share.
Yep.
And then been convicted of 3 homicides. You guys didn't know that.
We did not.
None of you guys knew that.
Correct, yeah.
No.
Yep.
And then hearing all the missing pieces in the trial, the people who didn't testify, there were a lot of holes when you went into the jury room. That were not explained to you. That must have made it more difficult.
It did, which is why we went back through everything just to make sure we didn't miss anything, to make sure that we were 100% on what we were choosing to do.
Was there anything that made you think she might not be guilty?
No.
I love that.
That went viral.
Was there anything that would make you think that she wasn't guilty and you think about it for a good long time.
No.
No. Oh, I love that. So you were one of two candidates for jury foreman.
Mhm.
So I asked you this the other day. Tell everybody how it was decided who was going to be the jury foreman.
Rock, paper, scissors. It came down to two of us that really wanted to do it. But we couldn't decide, and then we did that, and then yeah, it just ended up being him. So yeah.
Right. Rock, paper, scissors. What were you? What did you pick?
Oh gosh, I don't even know. Probably scissors.
So that had to have been rock. He had to have been
Yeah.
rock if you were scissors.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. All right. We'll continue with this. This time I'm going to actually play it before I play it.
When you went back to the deliberation room, were there any jurors that were uncertain and some that were certain? Where did you start? What was the foundation for deliberation?
I think probably 10 out of 12 of us were certain. The other two, we helped them go back to what they needed to learn to kind of make up their mind. And then, yeah, we just kind of went from there.
Did you guys look at any additional evidence once you were back there? Because I know that not all of the evidence was presented in court, and they said there was additional. Lori asked you to watch the entire interview, for example.
Yes.
And Trina K invited you to do the same. Did you guys do any
We
of that?
did. That was actually one of the first things we did, because what we saw was only clippets. And going back through it, it was actually kind of the whole interview that was like that. She asked us to watch the whole thing, but the whole thing was pretty much those clippets, other than her laughing, smiling.
So that was the interview of her with the Chandler PD. Is that the interview that you watched?
The detective in the room when they got brought back. Yep.
Right. Yeah, we've all seen that. And so all of us on the outside looking in, we're all like, we're just like, what kind of odd behavior is this that she's doing in this interview room? Is that what you guys' reaction was?
Yeah. So I mean, we gave her the benefit of the doubt by watching the whole interview, and we were all just kind of like, why did she want us to watch the whole thing? Because what they showed to us in the courtroom was the important pieces, and the parts that we didn't see were just her acting like nothing happened, basically.
Right. Totally. I mean, and I'm saying this is an objective third party, which I'm not, because I believe in justice for JJ and Tylee and Charles, but just totally acting bizarre in a situation where you shouldn't be acting the way that she was acting. Like,
Yeah.
Did you get that feeling like she was acting bizarre in that interview?
Yeah. First of all, because she literally took her shoes. I don't know if she took them off. Yeah, she took them off and um crossed her legs in the chair like she was at her own house. Like
yoga.
why are
yoga
you so
style.
comfortable right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's a piece of work, isn't she?
To say the least. Yeah.
And you got even more insight into that in this second trial.
Yeah.
I love that. I love the fact that you came back. I love that.
Smiling about, she was kind of just at peace. Like, she was just sitting there, her legs were crossed. She was sitting all the way up on the seat with no shoes on, just her legs were crossed like she was in her own home.
Lori made a big deal out of being called nonchalant or calm throughout the entire trial. I didn't think it was really fair. Was that something that affected you guys, her calmness or nonchalantness?
Yes. Being that calm when everything happened, it's not something that you would normally be calm about. You'd expect to be sad, asking how your brother's doing, since he was the one that got injured during it too. She didn't do any of that. She already knew it happened, and she just went with it like that.
Do you want her to testify?
I guess I don't know. Yes, seeing Charles's sister's reaction when they did say she pled guilty was really relieving. It made all of us feel really good that they got justice.
Can you get your first and last name?
Natasha Smith.
Natasha Smith.
Also known as Tosh Reed Tucker, though.
Tosh Reed Tucker?
Yes.
Can you spell that?
Tass, And then my last name is Reed Tucker, REED Tucker.
All
I
right.
can't tell you how many times I've had to say that. Like so many times.
So how many interviews have you had?
Oh gosh.
A dozen or more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
my whole life is different.
right. And for better or for worse, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you decided to come back for trial number 2.
I did.
Why?
To see what it was like to be on the opposite side.
Right. So how many days of trial did you end up coming for?
All except 2.
Wow. And the last few days, like I said, you came in the early morning hours and sat with us on the concrete steps.
I did.
And met a lot of us, and we got to meet you and we got to know you, which was really cool.
Yep. Took pictures. Yeah, got to talk about a little bit about who I am, who they are. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're a human being, and I'm a human being, and all the people on the steps are human beings, and it's amazing. It's an amazing experience for me just to get to know all of those people and to get to know somebody like you that just is real. So we're going to go back one more time to trial number 1.
Okay.
And when that whole thing came out with Carl, and he was juror number 15, and what he said that kind of caused a little bit of a controversy. Do you have any thoughts on that? Like, obviously we know now looking back that he just kind of misspoke a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like he didn't mean what he said, but it also caused a little bit of a kerfuffle.
It did. Yeah. I don't really have too much to say about him.
Yeah. Okay. I'm cool with that. I'm cool.
Yeah.
We can leave it at that. We can leave it at that.
Yeah.
He did get called back in. So somebody asked when I mentioned that earlier, did he get called back in? He did get called back in
He
by
did.
Trina Kid. Yep.
Yep.
And he filled out an affidavit where he clarified his statements. So we all know where he stood, that he just misspoke. So it's all good now. It's all good now. See, I had something queued up here. Let me see. Nope, I don't have something queued up here. We're good. That's fine.
So the part where I don't know if you remember, but in the trial that I was in, the word nonchalant came up an extreme amount of times.
Yes, it did.
And so I actually got sent a hoodie that says nonchalant on it.
Oh, wow.
And yeah.
Yeah, that was a thing on social media too. We were all like, don't say nonchalant, don't say that word. Don't say that word.
Yeah.
So you got to see another side of Lori that you didn't see when you were a juror.
Mm-hmm.
When you came back for the second one. You got to see how she behaves outside of the presence of the jury. How were you impressed by that? Like, what was your impression? What was your impression of her, and thinking back to how you saw her when you were a juror? Like, now you get to see her outside the presence of the jury.
So it was almost the same. She almost acted the same as she did when I was on jury. She was still smiling, laughing, smirking at people, you know. The thing that got me was when she was sick and she said she couldn't talk, but then when it came to the jury, she talked. So that was kind of like, what the heck?
Right. And were you there when she had her little back and forth with the judge and he threw her out?
I was not, but I was on live.
Yeah. And
That was the day I missed.
Oh my gosh. Of
Yep.
all the days to miss.
Yeah.
Oh. So obviously the jury didn't get to see that. And when you were a juror, you didn't get to see any of that kind of behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So most people look at that and they're like, that's the true Lori. That's her coming out. Is that how you feel? Like that's probably the true Lori, you know, her narcissistic self coming out, and she's not getting her way, so she's going to throw a fit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh. All right. So what is your favorite restaurant in downtown Phoenix?
Yard House.
Yard House. What kind of food do they have?
It's a little more on the spendier side. Like steak, pasta, pizza, cheese curds. I mean, a little bit of everything. It's just on a little bit of the spendier side.
Right. But you spend a little more and you get a little bit better there.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Oh,
I love
man.
it.
All right. I'm going to have to go there before I leave, and the clock is ticking. So do you like going out to the movies, or do you prefer to stay home?
I guess it depends. So usually it's at home, just because we have all the platforms to stream movies, and they come out like a week later after they do in the theaters. So we usually just stay home. But I think since moving here, we've gone 2 or 3 times.
Right. Did you go to any of the Star Wars movies when they came out?
No, I have
No.
never even seen any of them.
Oh, wow. So what do you go to watch then when you go out to the movies?
Either comedies or like rom-coms.
Okay.
I
I got
mean,
it.
yeah, usually
What was
comedies though.
What was the last movie that you went out to watch, like in the theater?
It was Wicked, the newest
Oh,
Wicked,
yeah, right.
and
Nice.
it was not at my own will. That was not something. It's not something I'll do again.
So what was the last one that you went to of your own accord?
Oh gosh, I don't even know. It had to have been like over a year ago.
Right.
I do not remember.
That's longer than it's been for me. So don't blame me for not remembering at all.
I'm not really a movie person. I like reality TV, trash TV.
Right. That's kind of like YouTube is like fringe reality TV, right? Aren't
I love
we?
YouTube.
Yeah. And we saw the other day that juror number 5 was on with Lauren and Hidden True Crime. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Did you watch that interview?
I did.
What did you think about that?
I think he did good.
Yeah.
I think he did good. Yeah.
I had my eye on him. So this trial, I did a lot of juror watching and jury watching in this trial, like way more than I did for yours.
Yeah, I think everyone did. I think it was either 4 and 5 or 5 and 6. I think it was 4 and 5 though.
No, it was 5
Everyone
and
had their
6.
eyes on them.
It was 5 and 6.
Was
They
it?
were like, yeah, it was.
They were like
Totally.
two peas in a pod. Like
Yep.
their faces turned bright red at the same time.
Yep.
They laughed at the same time. They were fun
Yep.
to watch.
Yeah. And juror number 6 to the left of juror number 5 on verdict day on Thursday, he wore a maroon shirt and a tie. Like
Yeah,
he dressed up a little bit
he
for
knew.
verdict day.
He knew what he
Yeah.
was doing.
Yep. But he didn't get interviewed. I was so hoping to get an interview with him. So juror
Yeah.
number 6, if you're listening, if you happen to be listening, come on, let's have a little chat. Oh. So if there is any one question that nobody has asked you about your experience in all of this, what would that be?
I don't even
Or
know.
has everybody run the gamut of all the questions that could possibly be asked?
I feel like that part.
Yeah.
I feel
This
like I've answered pretty much everything. I mean, unless someone were to ask something that hasn't, then I'd know. But
Right.
I
Yeah.
feel like
You don't know what you don't know, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, here we go. We have some questions from the audience. So
Okay.
maybe one of these will be a new one for you. Oh, wow. That's a good question, actually. How would you have felt if you had been an alternate after all that work and sitting through the entire trial and then being told, all right, go home and don't talk to anybody about the trial. Don't talk to anybody about the case because we might call you back at some point in time.
Mm-hmm. I think I would have been bummed. Like all of that. I want to say hard work. It's hard to keep a straight face for that many days. Um, when I'm such like a outgoing person, So, I would have been bummed.
So why did you keep a straight face for that many days? Were you given an instruction to keep the straight face?
Yes and no. I think we all came to an agreement that we didn't want anyone to know um, what we were thinking and if we were judging. I know there was a couple slip ups when there was the viral moments that happened. I think we all kind of giggled at those point in times. But yeah, we just kept a straight face so nobody knew what we were thinking.
Did you pick up on any of Lori kind of semi-flirting with anybody that was a witness at any point in time? Like a witness or a juror? So people read a whole lot. People are going to read, people on my side of it are going to read a whole lot into her interactions with the witnesses and her interactions with the jury. So we're going to like read extra things into her interactions. So some people read some things that were kind of flirty. Did you pick up on any of that?
No. I mean, unless it was when she was like giggling when she was talking to the male witnesses, but I didn't really pick up on anything like other than the high pitched giggling.
Yes. That's a good question. So I know you've been asked this before, but when you finally found out about the background, like how freaked out were you?
Pretty freaked out, I'd say. We just like looked this woman in the eyes and she talked to us, like looked us in the eyes while she was talking to us and not knowing any of it. And now knowing we're like we made eye contact with this person. Like this lady like smirked at us the whole trial. And this is what she's done.
It's, so how fast did that happen? Because you guys have your verdict, you render your verdict, and you go back to your jury room, and the judge says, I'll come back there to your jury room, and you don't have to wait around, but I would appreciate it if you would wait around, and I can thank all of you personally, and then you can be released. So let's walk through that like step by step. Like, did you go back to the jury room and wait for Judge Bresky to come back there?
Yeah, we actually all did. He shook all of our hands as well. So that was nice. He's a very good guy.
He from my end of things, he's an amazing judge. Like he has been
He's great.
amazingly patient and accommodating of her. So who researched her first? Like who Googled Lori Vallow Daybell first and like shared all that with you guys?
I don't know. I don't know any of anyone's names, honestly. Like,
but it just kind of spread like wildfire. Like one person found out, oh my gosh, this woman has done these horrible things and been convicted in Idaho. Y'all should know about this. It was like wildfire.
You just like hear it as you're walking. Like it wasn't quiet. It was, you could hear it.
Wow. So somebody Googled it and then it just like spread throughout the jury. And by the time you get downstairs, you all know about it.
Yeah.
And
I mean, like, not like know about it, but just like heard that, like, did you know that this is what she did, like, previously, Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. Right. And then you get pounced upon by the media. Like,
Yeah.
and you have to like think your way through that. And you did a masterful job, Tosh.
Thanks. To be fair, they're all of the media, even though they like swarm you, they're very, very thoughtful and nice.
Yeah, that's something that I still have to figure out as a court reporter, if I'm going to join that mob or not. Like, I didn't that day. I took a picture of it. I took a picture of all of the media surrounding you guys. Well, actually, the picture I took was the media surrounding Carl and was her name Veronica? I think that was her name. Victoria. Yes, thank you. Yeah. I took a picture of that like from afar, like from like 20 feet away, because it just impressed me so much that they're like,
yeah. I mean, it's a lot in the moment that it's happening, but they're all super nice people.
Yes, for the most part, they're all super nice people. And you know what? I got to know Justin Lum a little bit. I got to know Nate Eaton really well.
He's
Two
great.
really cool guys. Yeah. Nate is awesome. Like,
yep. Love him. Good guy.
Yep. You know what? That's what he said about me. Remember when we're sitting there and I said, "Hey, Nate, say hi to my channel."
Mm-hmm.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And he said hi to my channel. He said, "Thanks for watching." And he said, "Good guy." I'm like, that's high praise. That's high praise coming from Nate.
Yeah, he's very nice.
All right. What do you think now that you have learned so much about Lori?
I don't even know. I don't even know what to think. Like, it's so much that like, what does one even like? There's not even a word for it.
Right. How do you
Like,
encapsulate that? How do you verbalize that?
Yeah.
How has life been after the trial and after your interviews, notoriety? Have you had any like haters come into your life?
Still to this day, my social media, people are friend requesting me, following me, asking me questions, thanking me. It's changed a ton since the trial, but I wouldn't say hatefulness. I think there's one like someone was like not supportive of the LGBTQ community. So they were kind of like, why did you interview this person? But that was the only thing I read of like hatefulness. So which I'm used to, so it didn't bother me at all. But everyone's been so kind and they say such nice things and yeah.
Yep. Well deserved, except for that stupid comment.
Yeah. It happens.
It
doesn't
does.
bother me.
Ignorance is everywhere.
Yeah.
When you're not in your seats and you're waiting in the room to come out, so that must be the jury room that Native AZ girl is talking about. Since you can't talk about the case, how do you get a feel what everyone's thinking? Or do you even worry about what everyone's thinking? Are you just thinking your own thoughts and like, we'll discuss it in the end and we don't need to worry about what everyone's thinking right now?
Is it talking like the jurors or people on the outside?
Yeah, no, you're about jurors. So jurors are in you're in the jury box and then you're in the jury room and you go back and forth between those two. And I have a question about what she doesn't talk about, but she's talking about like when you're in the jury room
I
and
see now.
you're not allowed to talk about the case. Like, how do you get a feel for where everyone else is at?
We don't. Just because we can't talk about it. And it was mostly older men. No offense to them, but they just basically talked about riding their motorcycles and making opal jewelry for each other. Which, I mean, if that makes them happy, then good for them. But I was just I just was on my phone, just minding my own business because I'm not, I can't relate with any of that. So
studiously not talking about the case, right?
Yeah.
Right. I wonder in this trial, jurors 5 and 6 were like chummy and were talking during breaks and stuff, not talking about the case, obviously, because they weren't allowed to. I just in the back of my head, I'm like, I wonder what they were joking about, because they joked from time to time.
Yeah, I don't know. They were for sure having a good time though throughout the whole thing.
They were. They were.
And I can only imagine what was going on when they were not in the seats, if they were like that in the seats. So
right. But I do have this question. So the jurors are not sequestered, I'm going to use that word, from the public. Like during lunch and during breaks, the jurors were allowed to go out and like intermingle with the public and the media. Like you can go and you can get lunch, and when you're standing there and getting lunch, you can literally be standing next to a true crime fan who is here to trial watch, who is talking to their friend about the case. Right?
so we weren't supposed to talk to anyone actually on our lunch.
Right. You're not supposed to talk to anyone, but you could be standing next to someone who is talking to someone else about the case.
Yeah, and they just asked that if we did run into that, to just say, to tell them to stop talking, or to just move away from them.
Okay. Yeah, it's odd to me, because I've been to other cases and other trials where they take more efforts and are more painstaking in like keeping the jury separate from the public and the media, so they're not exposed to that. But they put that burden on you as a juror to not expose yourself to that. Interesting.
Yeah.
Was the feelings of TK towards LVD or vice versa palpable in the courtroom? TK, I don't remember TK.
What is TK?
I don't know. Therapists do know. I love therapists do know.
Was the feelings of TK towards LVD? Huh.
Yeah, we're gonna have to come back to that.
Oh, Trina K.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Wait, what was the question again then?
Yep.
Okay, there we go. Was the feeling of Trina K towards Lori Vallow Daybell or vice versa palpable in the courtroom?
So I think it was more obvious, I think, in the second trial that it became personal for Trina K. I don't know that it was so palpable in the first trial.
I agree. She was more emotional in this case.
Yeah.
In the most
especially in the closing arguments. Like they did the closing, she did her closing argument, and then Lori did her closing argument, and Lori like violated the terms, like she was testifying on her own behalf without testifying time after time. And I think that pissed off Trina K. And I felt like it became palpable at that point. But before that, and in your trial, I don't think that I noticed it. Did you?
No. I agree with you. It was more in this case.
Yeah. I think she's like, all right, if she's going to continue to testify without testifying in her closing arguments, then the gloves are off. That's how I felt in this one.
Yeah.
Like the rebuttal was fire.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah. Working together as a unit. So that's kind of an interesting question, because you have to like ignore each other up to the point where you have to start deliberations, and then you all have to work together.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think when it came to deliberations, just because that's the only time we could talk about it, we all worked together pretty well by starting it off with just a raise of hands, who thinks she's guilty, and it was all of us except for the two people. So we worked together for those two people that were still on the fence to figure out what they needed to learn and relook at to help them.
Okay, so the timeline of your verdict was, or the beginning of your deliberations, I'll say it that way, the beginning of your deliberations was very similar to the timeline of this jury's beginning of their deliberations, where we went through closing arguments in the early afternoon, and then like by 3:00 you guys were released and they were released to begin deliberations. So it sounds like you guys like took a straw poll by raising of hands, and you're like, okay, we have 2 people who aren't on board, we're not unanimous, so we're going to go home and sleep on it and come back tomorrow.
No, that actually happened the day when we came back. We didn't
Okay,
talk at
so
all the day that we were sent to start deliberating. We didn't talk at all. We just went directly home.
okay, and it sounds like that's what this jury did too.
Yeah,
right?
agreed.
Like almost exact same timing.
Yep.
Because if they had done a straw poll, it would have been 12 out of 12. All right, we have a verdict.
Right.
We're ready to go.
Right.
So it took you a couple of hours, 2-3 hours or so, once you got there the next day, to talk through all of the problems, the issues that those 2 people had, those 2 jurors had.
Yeah.
And it sounds like in this case, which was shocking to me, that they all came in the next morning and were like, guilty, 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 guilty,
Yeah,
times 12.
it was way faster. Like we were fast, but this jury was faster.
It was way
Like
faster.
I was prepared. I brought snacks that day. I brought drinks that day. Like I didn't do that any other days. I was prepared to stay the whole day. And that was not the case.
No, I was too, and I was not prepared for the for the 11:30 press conference.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was still morning time. Like that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, we're sitting there on the bench, you and I, after all of the press conference and everything, and we're like, it's barely 12 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like this is when they
Oh.
should have been like starting, you know?
Right. Yeah. This is from Kresha. Kresha is Charles Vallow's niece. So she is the niece of who you helped convict for murder of Lori's husband. So
thank you from the bottom of my heart for convicting the hooker that killed my uncle.
She is.
I mean,
she did.
I'm really glad I could be a part of it, and it's a good feeling to know that I helped so many people get justice.
Yeah, and you did, and she is one of those. She is Charles Vallow's niece, Kresha. Good to see you in here, Kresha. I'm glad you're surviving.
I think she requested to follow me. I'm pretty sure.
All right. She's a good person. What do you know about Mrs. Moroni and her lousy storm the thumb? That's such an odd question.
What?
Mrs. Moroni, so I've done a lot of deep research, and Lori claims that she received the LDS priesthood from Moroni in the temple, so maybe it has to do with that, but I can't interpret the question any more than that for you.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, let's try another one. The most surprising or disturbing fact you found out after. Yeah.
As a juror who was finished. Probably the part about her kids. That I just can't even fathom what she was going through, that she did that. Like,
yeah, and we
crazy to
talked
me.
about that. We talked about that on Thursday. Like, how do you go from like an offshoot of the Mormon religion, like doing your own cult thing, having your own group, like going out the deep end of that, into unaliving your children and spouses? Like, how do you go from that to that? Makes no sense.
No, I can't. I just can't.
No.
Yeah. Did your grandma and you get to have a great download?
Yeah, right.
So this keeps popping up in the comment section for any interview I do. I'm actually getting like, someone interview the grandma, please. And I'm like, yeah. We watched everything together, and now she has like little watch parties with her friends of my interviews, and it's like she's like, look, Tasha's on TV on the news, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Well, I have a little bit of YouTube channel, but if she's watching now, hi Grandma. Hi.
I'll send her the link.
All right.
She's pretty sick right now. I think she's in the emergency room right now. So.
Oh no way.
Yeah.
All right, we'll send her positive thoughts and vibes and all of that.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. Get better, Grandma. Get better.
What does Tosh want to do in criminal justice? I am going to be a criminal justice generalist. So at the end of it, I hope to be either a paralegal or a courtroom assistant.
And was Judge Boreski's courtroom assistant not awesome?
Oh my God, I love her. She's great. And Izzy, the guy, he was also great. They're both just so funny.
Yeah, they were both amazing. She, though, so she's like the administrative type of assistant. He's like the legal type of assistant. So there's two courtroom assistants, but she's like running around handing the microphone to juror number 7 and then juror number 43 and then juror 82. Like
she does it all. She's great at what she does.
And then she comes out and she tells the gallery, which you didn't get to see, if you take pictures, you're going to get kicked out of court.
Oh, I was there. I was there.
Yeah, because there were people that were apparently taking pictures, in court. And that's a no-no. You don't do that. Yep. Yeah. She's there to make sure it doesn't happen.
Yep. And she means business too when she does. Upset.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I do not want to be on her bad side ever.
Yeah.
Who was the foreman? I don't even remember. I don't know that I know for
I
either
don't
trial.
know his name, but he sat right next to me. I believe he was number 7.
Okay, juror 7.
I think.
Do you keep you had this asked of you the other day.
I get asked all the time. No. I'm pretty sure some of the guys do, just because they like swap opal jewelry or something like that. But
that cracks me up.
I do not keep in touch with any of the other jurors. No.
Do
you think?
Oh, that's a good question. So you had to see some disturbing medical examiner photos in this one. And they were disturbing for me just sitting in the audience. I imagine they were disturbing for you.
I looked at the audience when they were showing pictures of the body laying in the house still, and the up close ones, and everyone was like, they couldn't even look. It was, I guess I think I would have handled it the same. It's hard to see, but at the same time, it's good evidence.
It's hard to see, but it's necessary to see, right?
Yeah.
I think the hardest for me were the trajectory rods through his chest. Like that medical examiner opened up his chest and placed trajectory rods through his chest, and that was rough for me. And Kay Woodcock couldn't sit through some of those either, and I don't blame her at all.
Yeah. I think the hardest part though was seeing the family's reactions to them pulling the pictures up. That was pretty intense for the family.
Yeah. And so that became intense for you too, watching them having to go through that.
Yeah, because they already had to go through what they went through, and now they have to see these pictures. right in front of them on a ginormous screen, so it's hard.
All right. So we've been doing this for an hour and 20 minutes, and I'm out of new and unusual questions. Oh, thank you.
I feel like we're best friends now.
No, I feel like we've become friends. I really do. I have made a lot of good friends through this. Like Trace on the case, I met her in December in the pretrial hearings, and Christy and AJ and lots of other people that have come and watched the trial. And it's like, it's mixed feelings, because I feel like this was a tragedy and this was so horrible, and she's such a horrible human being, and she's going to get what she deserves.
Yeah.
From, I mean, whatever happens in Idaho, she was sentenced to 3 or 5 life sentences in Idaho. Like what happened here in Arizona, in Phoenix, doesn't change that life sentence at all, but it does bring justice for Charles.
And, a lot of people are like, what's the point in doing these trials when she's not even going to live to see them, the sentence? But it's the justice part of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you played a part in that. Like, how does that feel to play a part in that justice?
It feels really good. It feels really good.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you, Tosh.
I appreciate you.
Let's do it again. Let's not make this the last time that we talk.
I'm here for it. I'll be at the sentencing, so I'm sure we'll see each other again.
Absolutely. We will see each other again. Justice for Charles and JJ and Tylee and Brandon and Tammy. Yes. Yeah. All right. Peace out, Tosh.
Bye. Thank you.
Good evening. Come and find you a seat. Grab yourself a cup of joe and put up your feet. Let's talk about the latest news and all about true crime. We can make a difference if we put in the time. Good evening. Come and find you a seat. Grab yourself a cup of joe and put up your feet. Let's talk about the latest news and all about true crime. We can make a difference if we put in the time. If we put in the time. Good evening. Come and find you a seat. Grab yourself a cup of joe and put up your feet. Let's talk about the latest news and all about true crime.